AI color analysis is everywhere. It's on TikTok, it's on Instagram. There are specific apps for it that will do your colors and then build you a whole wardrobe. Digital virtual color analysis is all over the internet at the minute, and it's almost taking over from, I guess, the olden days of an in-person draping. But can it do as good a job? In-person color analysis usually consists of an expert stylist holding different color drapes up under your face. You're sat in front of a mirror and they're looking at the impact of each of those colors on your skin tone. So it happens in the moment. Some people see it really easily on themselves. Some people need to be guided by a stylist. But the goal is that using these sets of colors, you will be given both a season and a subtype within your season. There are lots of different systems. Some use purely describing words. Some give you a seasonal palette name and then a subtype. There are 12 season systems, 16 season systems. But the goal is generally with any in-person analysis that you will have these drapes put under your face and you will get an answer. Now, AI color analysis attempts to replicate this. So it usually uses a selfie. They always emphasize the need to do this in like good daylight, natural lighting. Where we've tried it, we've used our studio lighting, which is a mixture of natural and full spectrum lighting. So it mimics daylight really effectively. Now, I want to be really clear. All of these we've tried for the first time. One of them I had tried once before in my life, a long time ago, but didn't really know how it worked. But every other one is actually a cold use for us completely. I've never entered any of my details or photos into these apps before. So this is a genuine, what does it come up with for us? And you'll see my live reactions to the palettes it gives me. Some of them are better than others. So I'm using one of these super popular apps, which is something that I've been served a lot, like on my Instagram feed, on Facebook. So it's asking me a couple of questions first about what I want to actually achieve. It's got some quite interesting questions here about shops I buy from, but I don't know if that's going to help me with my actual color discovery, but let's keep going. So it's asking a bit about my style. So this feels like a really stylist-based app. Almost more than the color analysis one so far, but let's see if it's able to deliver me a really good result at the end. Okay, so very sensibly, it's telling me to clean my camera lens. Let's give it a quick bit of a wipe. It's a really good tip actually, because I think it's gonna help us get a better photo, hopefully. Remove glasses and hair accessories. I am fine on that front. So the next tip it's giving me is to use natural light. I'm actually in a fully lit studio, which is lit as close to daylight as we can make it. So we've got natural light coming in over my head and then kind of full spectrum lighting around me. So hopefully this is about as good lighting as we could hope for in this environment. Okay, I've got a result. We have an answer. So this app, and bearing in mind, I know my seasonal palette, I know my seasonal subtype. So I'm coming at this already knowing the answer I expect it to give me. I've used good lighting and I've tried to give it the best possible chance of getting me right. So let's see if it's managed it. So the app has told me I am true summer, which is absolutely no relation at all to the palette that I know I sit in. So it's a light rather than a deep palette. It's a cool rather than a warm palette. It's very true cool season where I actually sit really clearly into a warm season. So for me, it is about, in fact, I know for a fact that the worst colors on me are the summer colors. So this one, not a win for me. Next up, I am going to use ChatGPT to help me find my palette. Now, there are lots of AI tools out there like ChatGPT. The thing to remember is that this is not a color analysis specific tool. ChatGPT, as you'll know, can do almost anything, but what it has the power to do is to search the entirety of the internet and try and give me the best possible result. So hopefully it will be able to give me some really good guidance here on my palettes. So I'm just inputting a prompt for it to use a selfie that I've taken in good light, a neutral selfie with a neutral background, and asked it to find my seasonal palette, and we'll see if it can also give me a seasonal subtype as well. So it tells me I've taken a really good selfie. That's always pleasing. So it's given me a summary of some of my features. Interestingly, ChatGPT also thinks I am a summer. So again, this is the palette that is about the worst on me. I think it's a toss-up between spring and summer, but I think summer with those cool chalky tones actually is my very worst palette. It's actually suggested some fairly specific colours, and the colours it's told me to avoid are some of my go-tos. So it's told me to avoid camel, tomato red, olive green. These are some of the absolute go-tos in my wardrobe, so this is a really interesting result. Okay, so having come out as the wrong season twice, we thought maybe we're being a bit unfair on AI. Maybe we need to really go into natural light rather than what we call daylight lighting in the studio. So I've actually had to come and stand in the entrance to our warehouse. So I'm stood in front of an open door. I'm just off direct sunlight because everything we saw recommended that you don't go into direct sunlight, but you have natural daylight. So we've come into that environment to see if we can get a more accurate result. So it's asking me to upload a photo, and just to be clear again, I'm stood here with absolutely no special studio or video lighting. I have purely natural daylight. Let's see if this app can do a slightly better job. Okay, it's asking me, interestingly, to choose my natural hair color from some options. So it's given me a few different options. I think that's probably the closest. I've got very dark brown hair. Now, eye color. So this is really interesting. So as well as using the selfie, it's actually asking me to input some information, which I'm hoping is going to help it kind of balance the photo and really give me an accurate answer. So I can see already this is actually coming out with warm skin tones. So maybe we need to give those other apps a bit of a second chance or a little bit of sympathy for their efforts. So this app actually has got me to the correct season. It has made me an autumn. So big win for this app. It has made me a warm autumn. So I'm what's called a deep autumn. So I sit at the less warm end of the autumn palette. My neighboring season, if you like, is winter. But I think we'll give it a lot of points for getting me to autumn. And when I look at the colors it's suggesting, it has the colors I can see because I can't see the full range because I haven't upgraded to the premium option. It looks like it's, you know, they're not perfect because they're true autumn colors rather than that kind of deeper end of the palette. But it has given me an answer which gets me to the right ballpark. It's also given me some sort of colors to avoid, and I would say it's got those absolutely bang on. So here, AI has actually done, I'm going to give it a kind of 6 out of 10 results. So given the success of the previous app, I'm actually going to give ChatGPT one last chance to see if it can do a better job than its summer efforts. So I'm going to ask it to please repeat. So quite interesting, it says, thanks for sharing the second photo. It's pointed out it's got strong natural lighting, so it's actually able to tell that I've used better lighting. However, it has still given me true summer as a result. It's saying true and then in brackets cool summer because obviously it's trying to decide whether it's using a 12 or a 16 season system, which adds a degree of complexity. But either way, it's definitely decided I am a summer. ChatGPT really likes the idea of me as a summer. So even though we've tried to give it the best possible chance by really pulling me into natural, I would say even warm toned lighting, it's a very golden sunny day outside, it's still made me a cool tone season. Let's see if TikTok can manage what AI has failed at. So I've gone into TikTok, I have found a couple of different color analysis filters, and I'm going to see if TikTok can find me my season. So there's a few different options for color analysis filters on TikTok. This one is actually asking me to tell it my undertone and my eye color. I always feel like when I'm doing this, I'm slightly doing the work for it, but that's fine. Let's see if it comes out with something useful at the end of it. Okay, so this first filter I've tried has purely taken the answers I've given it. So hair color, eye color, and vein color. And it's given me an answer, which actually, because I know my hair color, my eye color, and my vein color, isn't a million miles out. It's not amazing. Okay, so it's given me autumn, win, but it's made me a soft autumn, lose. Soft autumn is the worst part of the autumn palette for me. It's really interesting that so many of these apps want to give me that kind of summer softness almost, which is what a soft autumn does. So it's actually managed to pick the very worst autumn colors for me. So points for trying, not a lot of points for actual success there. Okay, so this one is just basically offering me the opportunity to scroll through different palettes. So it's not actually trying to tell me an answer, it's giving me the chance to look at different palettes against a video of my face. A bit weird, have a bit of a floating head. But actually, in a way, I think this is quite a nice tool. So it's just allowing me to scroll through all the different palettes, so all the subtypes. So it's using a 12-season system. So each palette, so spring, summer, autumn, winter, has like light, deep, soft, clear, whatever applied to it. And I can actually go through and look at my face against these different palettes. Now, I think if I didn't know about color analysis, I would really struggle to identify my absolute best palette from this. But what it very clearly does is it helps me identify the worst palette. So I can see really quickly going through this that all of the light palettes look really bad on me. So like light spring, light summer, and even soft summer, and to be honest, cool summer. Anything where there's lots and lots of lightness in the palette and not very much warmth, it clearly looks bad. So although this might not help get me a definitive answer, I think if you're looking for general color guidance, actually something where you can just put palettes behind your face and judge the result for yourself could be quite a helpful tool if you just want to get kind of an indication rather than a definitive answer. So in conclusion, did it work? Well, the short answer obviously is no, not really. Some of the apps were able to give me my broader season. And when it managed to do that, it was generally when I was in the best possible lighting. So I think our first lesson here is if you're going to use AI color analysis, being in that natural daylight, not in direct sunlight, is absolutely what you need to be doing. If you mess around with that at all, you can't rely on the answer even a tiny bit. However, even when we did that, we didn't by any means get a 100% accurate result. So even in natural daylight, I came out as both a summer and an autumn. I'm pleased to say I did only get 2 season results actually throughout this whole process. But let's say it was still even a 50-50 chance of getting the right season. That doesn't feel like a great success rate. So for me, AI color analysis, is it valuable? I'm going to go with no, but with a little disclaimer. What I would say is that those apps that allow you to just see colors next to your face and begin to make some judgment calls, if you really have no idea where to start with color, you want to start wearing some and you want to just get a feel for what your best and worst colors are, maybe without narrowing it down as far as a season, I just think that ability to see loads of colors kind of around your face can really help guide you to, at the very least, like a general feel of where's the best kind of area of the full color spectrum and where are the worst? Because I think you can kind of begin to get that from some of the things like the TikTok filters we tried. I think they were actually, in a way, more helpful because they weren't trying to give a definitive answer. If you want to take the plunge and get a real in-person analysis, I've put some links in the description below to help you get started.